We have a criminal in the White House, which of course we already knew, which is why it's fucking unbelievable that we're even here. He's a literal criminal. He is a literal convicted felon. He literally tried to overthrow the republic on live fucking TV. And yet, what, 77 million blithering idiots in this country reelected this guy? And so now here we are. We are in an illegal war. And did you hear the newest? My two big stories today that I'm thinking about are, of course, the illegal war, which the coward Republicans just rubber stamped. They didn't declare war or anything. They didn't explicitly authorize this illegal war or anything like that. Yet they brought up this, they had a war powers vote to try to block Trump, and that failed. So, although they didn't explicitly authorize any of this, essentially they did. There's no difference. I mean, functionally, practically speaking, they allowed this to go on. They rubber stamped it. The only good thing here is that every one of these Republican pieces of shit who voted to essentially allow Trump to keep doing this, refused to block him from doing this, they are all on record now supporting this. Now, they'll try to spin it during the election and say that I didn't really support it, I just didn't block it. You want to try to make that stupid argument, you go ahead. But your Democratic opponents are going to tie this war around your friggin' necks. Anyway, so this illegal war is one thing. And then these newly released documents from the Epstein files are the other. I think I'll begin with the Epstein stuff. Because, hey, this is all because of Epstein anyway. That's why we're in Iran. That's why Donald Trump has launched this illegal war. And by the way, it's still illegal. Just because Republicans did not block him doesn't make it legal. There's still no authorization for war. There's still no declaration of war, that's for sure. And this was not taken in defense of the country. It's illegal. And it still is illegal. But the reason for it is because Trump is in the Epstein files. That is why he illegally started this war, to keep all of that from coming out. But we have some new documents released yesterday. And, this follows the DOJ saying that there weren't going to be any more files released. Remember, just last week or so, a week and a half, they said, we're done. We're not going to be releasing any more information. We have released everything we are required under law to release, and that's it. Well, apparently that's not it. And I think the reason for it is because we got that reporting last week from, or maybe it was earlier this week, from NPR and I think the Washington Post, maybe. There's a bunch of people that confirmed it, a bunch of outlets that confirmed it, that they were clearly hiding things that should have been released, covering things up that had already been released, and it was just obviously a big cover-up. So they got caught, and they had to release some more stuff. But keep in mind, this is still just a fraction of what they have. And I'm going to be talking about this more later, but let me just read how this is written up. This is from Mediaite, but a lot of places have written this up. Let me just read a little of this. This is why we're at war illegally with Iran. Not completely, because there's other things that we don't even know about that he is covering up, things that are even worse than this. Because if this got released, there's a lot worse out there, I am sure, that has not yet been released and probably never will. But let me read this. The Justice Department released several FBI documents on Thursday describing interviews with a woman who accused President Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her as a minor. The DOJ previously withheld the release of these documents in their release of over 3 million pages of documents relating to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, though the president's name was mentioned thousands of times within the files. Reporting from NPR and the Washington Post revealed that many documents were withheld, including those alleging wrongdoing on the part of the president. The notes from multiple 2019 interviews with a woman who claimed that both Epstein and Trump assaulted her as a minor were released on Thursday. They detail her uncorroborated accusations surrounding her interactions with Trump in the 1980s, when the woman claims she was between 13 and 15 years old. The woman, whose name is redacted, alleges that the assault occurred after she met Trump and a group of people that included Epstein. Trump allegedly asked the others to leave the room, according to the FBI notes, and mentioned something to the effect of, "Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be." The allegations go on to claim that Trump attempted to make the woman perform oral sex on him. The woman claims she bit his penis, to which Trump responded by striking her and having her removed from the room. The woman also makes unsubstantiated allegations that Trump had illegal building permits. She heard Trump talking about washing money through casinos. The FBI has not substantiated the allegations made in these interviews, and Trump has repeatedly denied all wrongdoing. Now, we are talking about the President of the United States here and allegations made to the FBI by an adult woman at the time who was telling the FBI what Donald Trump did to her, what she claims he did to her when she was between 13 and 15 years old. So she was an adult woman when she had these interviews with the FBI and made these allegations. Now understand that it is a felony if you lie to the FBI. I need a tissue. Where the fuck are my tissues? Hold on. Damn cold. I just can't friggin' get over it. Annoying as hell, or annoying AF, as the kids say. Anyway, she was an adult. And so if she lied in any of these things, and she was talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, two very powerful people, when she made these statements to the FBI. And if she was lying, she could have been sent to prison. Now, she was never prosecuted for any of this. If she was lying, you would assume that she would be prosecuted. She was never prosecuted. And so keep that in mind, because I'm sick and tired of these fucking stories going out of their way to throw in words like unsubstantiated claims or uncorroborated accusations. Now, yesterday afternoon, when this news first broke, I put on MSNBC, and there was who was it? Alicia Menendez, I believe, was talking about these documents, and she said multiple times in describing the allegations in these FBI files, she said multiple times, went out of her way, over and over and over again, to use the word unsubstantiated. Over and over. And it pissed me off. Now, I know why they do it. Because they're scared to death of being sued. Because Trump sues everybody, threatens to sue everybody. And they're worried about defamation and being sued. Let me clue these idiots in on something. You don't have to say unsubstantiated. First of all, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a young girl who was alone with Donald Trump when he did this. That's what she says to the FBI. She was alone. He kicked everybody out of the room. It was just her and Trump. So how exactly would these be corroborated? How could the FBI corroborate this? I mean, I guess it could be corroborated if Trump admitted to it, but unless Trump admits to it, then how the hell would you corroborate this? How would you substantiate it? You can't. So that's number one. And by the way, just because you only have one witness, no other witnesses, and maybe not even any physical evidence, that doesn't mean you can't prosecute. Now, the statute of limitations has run on this. So you can't prosecute him for this. But assuming the statute of limitations had not run, we bring cases all the time based on the testimony of just the victim alone. There are people in prison right now who were convicted just on the testimony of their victims and nothing else. The question for the jury is, do you believe the victim beyond a reasonable doubt? So this idea, I mean, the implication here is, well, you can't necessarily believe her. It's uncorroborated. All right, that just pisses me off as a matter of law. Just a witness's, a victim's statement, her testimony is enough to convict. That's number one. But to go out of your way, let me clue these fuckers in on defamation. First of all, it's a complete defense to defamation if what you're saying is true. Okay, so keep that in mind. It doesn't matter how bad a thing is that you're saying about someone. If it's true, there's no defamation. So defamation is a lie that damages someone's reputation. Now, keep in mind, Donald Trump is a public figure. So legally speaking, under Supreme Court precedent, for a public figure to sue successfully for defamation, they have a higher bar they have to reach legally. You have to prove essentially malice, that you were recklessly in disregard of the truth. You didn't give a shit what the truth was. Okay, so it's a much higher bar than if you defame someone who's not a public figure. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But here we're talking about allegations. So if you are in the media and you're reporting on this story, you don't have to throw in uncorroborated and unsubstantiated. All you have to do is say that this is the allegation that was in the FBI files. This is what this woman said about Donald Trump. Because that is true. You're not claiming that Donald Trump raped a woman. You're not making that definitive statement. You're simply reporting that this woman says that Donald Trump attempted to rape her or raped her. So whether it's this woman or any other allegation, all you have to do is say, this is what the woman said. This is what the FBI file says. You don't have to go out of your way to say unsubstantiated, because you're accurately reporting. You're reporting what you are making a definitive statement about is that this woman said this about Trump. That's it. You're not saying that it's true. You're not saying that Trump did it. You're just saying that she said that. That's it. There is no possibility of defamation here. And it's only defamation if it's not true to begin with. But even if it is not true, even if Donald Trump is innocent of this, to report accurately that this is what the FBI file says, this is what a woman alleges against Donald Trump, even if Trump didn't do it, it's not defamation just to report that a woman said that. That is, in fact, true. Now, if Donald Trump is innocent and you came on your news program and you said Donald Trump raped a woman, that's different. You're making a definitive statement that Donald Trump did that. That's not what we're doing here. We're simply reporting on the story that the FBI file says this. The woman told the FBI this. That is true. So even if Trump didn't do anything, that is still not defamation, because you're not claiming that he did. You're just reporting what the woman actually, in reality, did in fact say. But Donald Trump's not going to sue anybody for defamation over this. Think about this. Donald Trump sues people at the drop of a hat. How many people out there have been talking about what he has done to children? What is in these files? How many people has he sued for saying it? Exactly this fucking many. None. He has sued nobody. And he's not going to sue anybody. You know why? One, because I think he fucking did it, and a hell of a lot worse. I don't know that for a fact, but based on his behavior, everything I know about this fucking scumbag, I think that this woman is telling the truth about him. And I think there's probably a lot of other women who have similar stories about Donald Trump. And I think the worst we'll never see. And remember, this is just what his DOJ released. Think about what they're not releasing. So that's number one. And number two, if he sues anybody, guess what? They get to go through discovery. They get to put him under oath. They get to subpoena all kinds of records and documents, and they get to subpoena all kinds of witnesses. Right? This woman didn't want to prosecute. Apparently because she was afraid. She didn't want to go. Well, actually, by the time, that's why she didn't come forward earlier. But by the time she came, I'm not exactly sure when this statement was made. I don't know if the statute of limitations had run at that point. But she didn't want to pursue charges for the same reason a lot of victims don't want to pursue charges. They fear they won't be believed. They fear speaking out against a powerful man. They fear for themselves. They fear for their families. They fear retaliation. But, you know, anyway, the point is, he's not going to sue anybody. He's not going to subject himself to discovery. Are you freaking kidding me? And yet they go out of their way. It's not good enough for them, I guess, to just say, this witness alleged blah, blah, blah. No, they have to say, the witness alleged blah, 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 and we want to make sure that we get it on the record that we're telling you, the audience, that this is uncorroborated. This is unsubstantiated. Fuck that. Because what most people hear when you say an unsubstantiated allegation, what most people hear is a lie. That's what they hear. An unsubstantiated allegation sounds like they're lying. That's what it sounds like. And that's what pisses me off. They're so afraid to be sued, they spin this story in Trump's favor to make it sound to the audience like this victim is lying. Makes me sick. Anyway, so that's what you have in the news. The President of the United States, in official FBI documents, now I wasn't president at the time, but in official FBI interviews, again, when you make statements to the FBI, if you lie, you could be prosecuted. And it's a felony. It's a serious crime. And so this woman was never prosecuted. And so you have this woman saying that when she was between the ages of 13 and 15 years old, Donald Trump kicks everybody out of the room, grabs her forcefully, tries to force her to give him oral sex. She bit him. And then he assaulted her, called her a bitch. Get this bitch out of here. That's the President of the United States. That is in official FBI reports. How the hell is this not the only thing that people are talking about in this country? Could you imagine that being said, that coming out about any other president in our nation's history, and that not be the only thing that we're talking about? Bill Clinton got a consensual BJ by an adult woman. And this country, that's all this country, the country came to a friggin' halt over that. Now, there were other things involved. He lied under oath. He lied to a grand jury about it. So, I mean, there's a serious legal aspect to that. But when you boil it, nobody was really talking about that. When you boil it all down, everybody was up in arms because he got a consensual BJ from an adult woman. Here, in the FBI reports that he was trying to cover up, FBI reports, He did this to a 13 to 15-year-old girl. And when she wouldn't perform oral sex on him, he assaulted her and said, "Get this bitch out of here." This country should be grinding to a halt and demanding to get to the bottom of this. But no, how many people even freaking know about it? You're right. And there's allegations of murder. There's accusations that Trump murdered people, had girls murdered. And the media doesn't give a shit. They're afraid to be sued. So to the extent they report about it at all, oh, it's uncorroborated, it's unsubstantiated, please don't sue us. Fucking pathetic. And who are the lawyers? Who's the in-house counsel for these places? I'm sure the lawyers are saying, well, make sure you say 15 to 20 times in the span of 30 seconds that it's unsubstantiated or uncorroborated. You don't have to do that at all. Simply report the fact that this woman made the allegation. That's all you have to do. You're reporting that that's what she said, and that is true. That is what she said. If he sues you for defamation, which he won't, you offer into evidence defense exhibit number 1, the FBI report that shows that's what she said. And boom, you win the case because what you said is true. She did say that. Oh, it makes me so fucking... And that's the president of the United States. That is the guy who just dragged this country illegally into a war that has the potential of spinning out of control and dragging the whole fucking world into World War III. Is that going to happen? I don't freaking know. Could it happen? Oh, hell yes, it could happen. And the reporting today is that Russia is providing intelligence and other assistance to Iran in their fight against us. So, Russia is involved in this war, siding with Iran, helping them to fight the United States. Now, they're not directly fighting us, as far as I know, but they are helping Iran to fight us. And we have the oil minister or something of Qatar saying that this is going to be an absolute catastrophe for the worldwide oil market, that he expects prices in the near future of a barrel of oil to double. And in the United States, on average, the price of gasoline has gone up 11% in just the last week. So to all you idiots, not that there's any of these people watching this, but to all those fucking morons, the 77 million who voted for Donald Trump, how many of them voted for Donald Trump because they thought he was going to bring prices down on day one? Well, how's that going? Unfreaking believable. Not only are prices not down, so you voted literally for higher prices because that's what tariffs are, literally raising the price of goods. So you voted for that, and you didn't get lower prices, but maybe you got World War III. Wow, bunch of fucking geniuses we're surrounded by in this country. What else do we have here? All right, oil prices up 11%, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this one's bad. You heard in the first day or two of this illegal war that an elementary school for girls was blown up. Initial reports were 40 girls killed, then 60, then 80. I think the number now is up to about 180 children. And we're talking about kids 10 years old, 11 years old, that age range. About 180 of them killed. And now the news is coming out that all the evidence is indicating that that school was blown up by the United States military. nobody thinks that their country is evil. Well, maybe that's not true. The heads of countries never think that they're the evil ones. It's always the other countries that are evil. Well, our government is evil. I'm not saying our country is evil. There's a lot of evil people in our country. There are a lot of good and decent people in this country. But our government at the federal level is evil. Or at least the Trump administration is evil. We see what they're doing to American citizens and not American citizens. I don't care if they're American citizens or not. We're seeing what they're doing to people here in this country. Arresting them illegally, beating the shit out of them, detaining them for indefinite periods of time illegally, sending them off to third world prison camps illegally, shooting them in the face, shooting them in the back, murdering them. That's evil. That is absolutely evil. There's no other way to describe it. And then look what they're doing in this illegal war. This war is illegal. And at the time, when this blowing up the elementary school in Iran, at the time, our Congress hadn't even done their war powers vote yet and essentially rubber stamped this friggin' thing. So this was completely on his own. Just launches this war to distract from Epstein, and they blow up a school full of children and kill about 180 of them. Little girls. But remember, we're doing this to liberate the people of Iran. Well, that's one of the bullshit reasons they're giving. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's one of the bullshit reasons. Nuclear weapons that don't exist, that we obliterated a few months ago. Oh, that's why we have to go in. Israel was going to strike them imminently, and then so Iran was going to strike us, so we had to strike them first. Like, you know, it's such bullshit. But the one that really kills me is, we have to liberate the oppressed people of Iran. We liberate them by murdering their children. And this fucking idiot thinks that this is going to have a good resolution. You hear him today? He put out a Truth Social post. Let me see if I have it here. Oh, damn it. I closed that. You know what? I'll just bring it back up here. Yeah, you know what? I'm not. This psychopath posts so much, I'll have to scroll for the next 10 minutes to find a post that he put up an hour ago. So forget it. What he said was, there will be no deal. There will be no end to this war. There will be no deal unless there's unconditional surrender. So, the leadership of Iran, they hear this. What exactly is their reason? Why in the world would they try to bring this to an end? Why would they come to the negotiating table? It needs to be absolute surrender. So say they unconditional surrender. Say they do that. They wave the white flag. They call up this orange fucking buffoon and say, we surrender unconditionally. Do to us what you will. You think any of those top leaders in Iran are going to survive that? The very best that will happen to them is that they're in prison for the rest of their life. Why in the world would they ever stop this fight? Now it's got a whole different dimension to it as well. Donald Trump doesn't understand this. You know, the Ayatollah that he blew up, he's not just a political leader. He's a religious leader to millions of Shiites. He just martyred him. There's a whole other aspect of this that Trump doesn't even understand. And here's the thing. They tell us this all the time. Oh, Iran is the world's biggest state sponsor of terrorism. True. Do you remember 9/11, you fat bloated slob? Do you remember 9/11? You don't think that could happen again here? And they also try to tell us, they scare us, there's sleeper cells. Iran has terrorist cells in the United States. Okay, and so if that's true, you think it's a good idea to blow up the Ayatollah on bullshit? Now, maybe that all would have been a good idea, but the Congress of the United States should have debated this and authorized it. The people of the United States, acting through their elected representatives, should have made that decision. Not this orange, bloated fucking criminal who's just trying to distract from what he did to children. He's not the one who gets to make that decision. And so now, the problem when you go to war is that the other side gets to respond. The other side doesn't just have to sit there and take it. They can respond. They have agency. They can make decisions about how they want to respond. They have terrorist networks all around the world. Is it just a matter of time now before we see terrorist attacks inside the United States? I don't know, but it's certainly a possibility. And I know this criminal piece of shit remembers 9/11 because he was out bragging after the towers came down. He was bragging about, now I have the tallest building in New York City. So I know he remembers. This guy has no idea what he has unleashed on this world. I don't know where this is going to go. I'm not going to pretend that I know where this is going to go. But there's a lot of people who think that, and I did a video earlier on this, in the first couple days of this war, about how Iran could win this. Now, they could never win a military matchup head-to-head against the United States. Of course not. But that's not how they're fighting this. That's not how they would fight it. You'd be out of your mind to just try to go toe-to-toe against the United States. But what they're doing to much effect is shooting off all these cheap missiles. And when they put up these missiles, we don't know if they're cheap pieces of crap that aren't going to do much or whether they're their good stuff, because they've got some good missiles over there buried under the mountains in those tunnels that they've been, constructing for decades. So those things go up and we've got to intercept them. So we shoot up our interceptor missiles are like 1 million or more a pop. We have a finite supply of those, and it takes a very long time to manufacture these. So basically, we've got what we've got, and we're not going to get any more in any kind of a time frame that would be useful. So we use these really expensive interceptor missiles to blow up little cheap pieces of crap that they're putting up, and they have in huge supply. Crappy little missiles, drones that cost, a tiny fraction of what these missiles cost. And they cause us to use up all our expensive interceptor missiles and everything. And then what? When they're spent, then they just get to bring out their better missiles and rain hell all across the Mideast. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what their capabilities are. I don't know exactly where this goes, but you've got their ability to fight it that way. Then you've got the possibility of terrorism. This is a friggin' disaster. And of course, they're sitting right there at the Strait of Hormuz. It's a tiny little, have you seen an aerial photo of the Straits of Hormuz? It looks like you can almost walk over it. It's a very narrow passage that so much of the world's oil supply goes through. It's shut down now. That's why this oil minister or whoever from Qatar is saying, oil's going to double in price in the not too distant future. And this is going to wreak havoc on the entire world economy. How fucking stupid is this guy? That's been part of my commentary for years, that this man is one of the stupidest human beings ever to have lived. He really is that fucking stupid. And part of the reason for his stupidity, he's dumb. I mean, there's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. He's legitimately stupid, right? He's a stupid human being. But when you put on top of his stupidity all of his personality defects, all of his mental illnesses, his malignant narcissism, his sociopathy, his psychopathy, and whatever the hell else is wrong with him, his fucking dementia, whatever he's got going on. You add on top of all that the information bubble in which he lives. There's nobody in the White House who's going to tell him the truth about anything. Nobody. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate everybody who supports this show. It means a great deal. And, you know, it means a great deal to all independent content creators. And it's important, just by the way, as a quick aside, it's important to get around this worthless fucking media, you know, with their lawyers telling them what to say and what not to say out of fear they're going to be sued when they're not going to be sued. And even if they are sued, there's no case against them. So you got Alicia Menendez and all the rest of them. And I'm just singling her out because she's the one who was on when I turned on the TV. But they all do this. Uncorroborated, unsubstantiated. Hell, it said it used those words in this friggin' Mediaite story I was reading. Anyway, so it's important to support independent creators that you think do good work. And I appreciate everyone who supports my platforms. It means a lot. Anyway, where was I going with all this? That this is an absolute friggin' disaster. Oh yeah, how stupid he is, right? So he's stupid to begin with, just a truly stupid human being. Then he's got all his mental fucking problems on top of it. Then he lives in a media bubble. Nobody in the White House is going to tell him the truth about anything. They're only going to blow smoke up his ass 24/7. And the only information sources that he has basically is Fox News. That's it. And Fox News is 100% propaganda all the time. Fox News is all about this war. They are pushing this war 24/7. And they're constantly telling Trump that he's the greatest ever. Nobody's turning on Trump. No Republicans are questioning Trump. Nobody's leaving Trump. Now that's Fox News. If he were to go to other parts of the media, if he were to go to parts of the new media, MAGA media, there's a lot of MAGAs who are turning on him. And by the way, I had somebody yesterday when I was talking about that saying, oh yeah, you're wrong. There's nobody's turning on him. All the MAGAs I see are supporting this. Well, then you're in an information bubble, my friend, because it's true. It is happening. There are a lot of MAGAs who are turning on Trump. Depending upon where you go, platforms and whatnot, there's a lot of them. And they're speaking out. Hell, Trump just turned on Tucker. Because Tucker's, and don't tell me Tucker is some small, non-influential person. No, Tucker has juice with a lot of MAGAs, all right? And he is full on against this war. In the early days of the war, he said, what did he say? It's not in this article here. He said it was evil or something. Oh yeah, it is in here. He said it's absolutely disgusting and evil. Let me read a little of this. President Donald Trump cast Tucker Carlson out of MAGA in a Thursday interview where he said his once loyal supporter has lost his way. Tucker has lost his way, Trump told ABC News' Jonathan Karl. I knew that a long time ago, and he's not MAGA. MAGA is saving our country. MAGA is making our country great again. MAGA is America first, and Tucker is none of those things. And Tucker is really not smart enough to understand that. The irony of this fucking idiot calling anybody else, implying that they're not smart. Good God. The comments follow Carlson blasting Trump's administration over their recent strikes on Iran. Carlson called it absolutely disgusting and evil. He's also been vocal in criticizing Trump's administration on other issues like the Epstein files, Ukraine, and more. In a lengthy conversation just now, this is Jonathan Karl tweeting out. In a lengthy conversation just now, President Trump hit back at Tucker Carlson, who called the Iran war absolutely disgusting and evil. Tucker has lost his way, blah, 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 blah. So there he is. Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. You're kicked out. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she wanted the Epstein files released. Fuck her. She's not MAGA. Cast her out. He's making enemies of more and more people, right? Have they all turned on him all at once? See, that's the thing. When these people say, oh, they're not turning on Trump. They'll never turn on Trump. People think they're just a monolith. They're either going to all be loyal to Trump or they will all turn on Trump. That's not how it works. Now, up to this point, they've acted like a monolith because, it's a cult. But people do wake up from the cult. And that's what's happening. A lot of them are. I'm not saying it's a majority or anything, but every single day that this war goes on, he's losing more MAGA support. And MAGA is a minority movement anyway. He can't afford to lose anybody. And yet he's losing more and more people. He lost people and continues to lose people over Epstein. Hell, I covered it a couple of weeks ago. Sean Ryan, huge MAGA podcaster, helped Trump get reelected. Had him on his show. He's done over the Epstein stuff. He even said that Trump has dementia, right? That's a big deal. I mean, he's a big account, and there's lots of them doing this. Nick Fuentes says he's voting for Democrats in the midterms. And by the way, just because some of these people are turning, and I mention these people, doesn't mean I support these people now. Doesn't mean that some of these people like Nick Fuentes aren't horrible people. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got no love for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I'd be willing to forgive to an extent if she came out and apologized for everything. I was wrong. All the things I said in support of Donald Trump were wrong. I'm deeply sorry for those things. The 2020 election was not stolen. I apologize for lying. She's not done any of that. She still holds to all these horrible things that she's done and said in the past. But the reason why it's important is because they're turning on Trump. Many of them are. So if you believe that none of them are turning on Trump, then you're in an information bubble. Because they are. We'll see what kind of a difference that makes, but you don't get to the approval ratings that he has unless you have some of his former supporters abandoning him. You don't see some of the election results that we've seen across the country unless some of these people have abandoned Trump. It's happening, which tells you how desperate he is to keep whatever he did to children a secret. Why he's so desperate to cover up those Epstein files. He's got to know to some degree, unless maybe he is just so fucking out of it that he has no idea that he's losing any support. And this is where, and I think that is actually, there is some truth to that, because he gets all his information from Fox News. And Fox News is not saying that Trump is losing any support. Fox News goes out of its way to tell their audience that Trump is not losing any support. So Trump's not hearing the truth from anyone on his White House staff. He's not hearing the truth from Fox News, which is where he gets his information. So maybe he doesn't know that what he's doing is causing a huge wedge between him and MAGA. Now, he obviously knows some individuals, people like Tucker Carlson, but if Tucker Carlson is turning on you, you should know that you have a problem. Tucker Carlson is pretty darn influential. And now you just said he's not MAGA. You kicked him out. You're trying to get your supporters to turn on Tucker. And see, that's the thing too. He can't just let people have a disagreement. If he was smart and Tucker criticized him, he'd come out to Jonathan Karl when asked about it, and he would say, I understand Tucker's opinion. I respect his opinion, but as president, I have information about the threats. I have to look at it from a different point of view. And so I think this is in the best interest of the United States, but I do understand, his point of view and I respect it. He could say something like that, but instead you disagree with Trump. He wants to destroy you. He wants to turn his cult followers against you. Now, if you're a Tucker Carlson, is that going to get you back in line and you're going to start kissing Trump's ass? Maybe. Maybe it does. Or maybe it has the exact opposite effect. Now you've just made potentially an enemy of Tucker Carlson, a guy who does have a lot of influence. Now you just made him an enemy, like you did with Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? When Marjorie Taylor Greene was speaking out, about the Epstein files, and she hadn't turned on Trump. She was just vocal in wanting the Epstein files released. But that was too much for Trump, so he had to attack her. He had to destroy her because she actually stupidly believed the things that Donald Trump said. That he was America first, no foreign wars, and he's going to release the Epstein files. Well, of course, that was all bullshit. And when she was actually believing that those things would happen and was working to achieving those things, Trump tried to destroy her. And what did it do? All it did was make an enemy of Marjorie Taylor Greene. And now she is out there like she has no fucks left to give. She's not, she's not being careful in her words. She's going right after Trump. She's attacking him daily. That's not good. Is that going to bring Trump down? No. Marjorie Taylor Greene alone is not going to bring Trump down. Tucker Carlson alone is not going to bring Trump down. But it's not just them. It's a lot of them. And every day he's doing more and more and more to destroy his standing with his base, to the point where I'm telling you, I see these MAGAs all over the place every day. Some of them are now saying, I hate this guy now. See, that's the thing. Remember, these people were in a cult because they believed all of this shit. They believed all the lies. When you listen to people who leave cults, once they realized it was all a lie, once they realized that they were taken advantage of, that they were conned, they become very, very angry at the person who conned them. And they become the most outspoken critics. They hate the person who conned them more than other people do. And that's what Trump is doing with some of these people. I mean, you listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene, she fucking hates him. And so many of these people who now realize it was all a fucking con job, it was all a lie, they hate him. And they're even talking about they hope Democrats win because they want Trump impeached and removed and prosecuted. That's what Nick Fuentes is out there saying. He's going to vote for Democrats. He can't wait. He wants Democrats to win, and he wants Trump and J.D. Vance impeached and removed from office. This is what happens when people who you've been lying to for a decade realize they've been lied to. And think about what these people went through. These people, how much they sacrificed in their own personal lives for Donald Trump. How many relationships in their lives have they destroyed for Donald Trump? They've probably lost lifelong friends, members of their family who don't talk to them anymore, all because they got swept up in the cult of Trump because he lied to them over and over and over again. Once they realized they were lied to, they realized they lost their fucking best friends. They don't even have relationships with members of their family anymore. Some of these people got divorced over this, lost their jobs. How about the people who attacked the Capitol? I mean, yeah, they got pardoned, but many of them, their lives were destroyed. All of this for a lie. When they realize and admit to themselves that it was all a lie, they hate Trump. That's happening. That's happening. So, anyway, anything else to talk about here? How long have I been talking? Quite a while. You guys got any questions? Oh, and he's about to fuck him over big time with John Cornyn. Texas got this runoff now. There's going to be a runoff in the Senate primary between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And Donald Trump is apparently going to endorse John Cornyn. Talk about not either understanding your base or not giving a damn about your base anymore. He will be spitting in their eye. And he's going to make it so much worse, not only for himself, but for his party. Because, if he were smart, he'd stay the hell out of it. He would say, I'm not getting involved in a primary. They're both good Republicans. The voters should decide. That's how presidents of both parties used to approach primaries. This idea of presidents endorsing in party primaries, that never happened until Trump, except on rare circumstances. But no, this is new. This never happened. And if Trump were smart, that's what he would say. I'm not getting involved. The voters of Texas, the Republicans of voters of Texas should make this decision. I will support either one. That's what he should say. But he's too stupid to say that. So he's going to endorse Cornyn because you've got Republicans, the Republican establishment in Texas scared to death that they're going to lose Texas because they got Tallarico, who they really didn't want, and they really don't want Paxton. They fear that now that Tallarico's got the Democratic nomination, if they nominate Paxton, there's a good chance that Democrats flip that seat. So they want desperately for Trump to weigh in because they think if he endorses Cornyn, and he's also saying that when he makes an endorsement, he wants the other person to drop out. And Republicans in Texas, the establishment, are hoping that's what happens so that they can just end this primary. But that's not going to work out the way they think it's going to work out. The base of the Republican Party loves Paxton. The MAGA nuts love Paxton. They hate Cornyn. They think Cornyn is a rhino. They hate him. If Trump goes and endorses Cornyn, you're only going to get more Republicans, and not just in Texas, but everywhere, turning on Trump because he's abandoning a MAGA candidate, a hardcore MAGA candidate who has bent over backwards to try to help Trump steal the 2020 election and everything else. You're going to throw that guy under the bus and pick an establishment rhino who they all hate. They're not going to fall in line. Now, many of them will fall in line, especially the Fox News boomers. They'll all fall in line. But a lot of these, these younger MAGAs, the more idealistic MAGAs, they're not going to fall in line, many of them. You're just going to make more of them turn against you. And what's going to happen in Texas in the general election? If they push Paxton out, and now you have John Cornyn, a lot of these people are going to say, fuck that, I'm not voting, period. And not only will that make it more likely that John Cornyn loses, but if they sit out and they don't vote at all, well, now they're not there to vote for the other races. They're not there to vote for, whatever member of the House of Representatives. Remember, they tried to jerry-rig that state to try to squeeze out more Republicans. If these Republicans don't even vote at all because they're pissed off at Trump stabbing them in the back with his Cornyn endorsement, now they're not available to vote in the House races either. So this guy is far too stupid to think any of this through. Far too stupid. The smartest play, both for himself and his standing with the base and for trying to get the Republican elected, would be for Donald Trump to stay out of it. Like I said, just say these are two great candidates. The Republicans of Texas should choose, and I would support whoever wins. That's what he should do. Then you're not making it worse. He's going to make it so much worse. He's going to cause people not to vote at all. If you're James Tallarico, you got to be so happy seeing all of this. You got to be, oh, please, Trump, please be stupid enough to endorse John Cornyn. Please, I'm begging you. It's like, what, did somebody from the Tallarico campaign infiltrate the White House or something? I mean, they got to be loving this. This guy, again, like I say, he is one of the stupidest people to ever walk the face of the earth. Thank you. Okay. Any questions? Do I have anything else here? I am going to be talking about this this FBI report about this woman who claims that when she was 13 to 15 years old that Donald Trump assaulted her. I'm going to be talking more about that just to let you know, because I'm hit my microphone there. I printed out this FBI file with her exact statements, and I want to read that a little bit more. But I'm going to be talking about that more. I can't believe it. This should be all that we're talking about. Unfreaking believable. Okay. Oh yeah, it's maybe unsubstantiated, but do we not want to know whether it's true? The media's just going to gloss over it. Oh well, it's unsubstantiated. Meaning that there wasn't another. Look, is that the media's position now? Hey, if you're a victim of rape, you better hope that you were raped with somebody else in the room, or we don't care. Is that the media's position now? Rape victims are not to be believed unless there's another victim in there. Now, how often does that happen? How often do men rape women with witnesses? And to hear these friggin', it turns my stomach. Turns my freaking stomach. Oh, unsubstantiated, uncorroborated. Shouldn't we try to get to the bottom of it? Don't we want to know if it's true, whether the president of the United States, who's dragging this country into an illegal war, maybe towards World War III, actually did this? Or do we not want to know? Oh, we're just afraid of being sued. Afraid of losing our jobs. Fucking pathetic. All right. I'm going to give you all just about 30 seconds here to see if there's any good question that comes through as I look through my notes, see if there's anything I missed. No, I think I've got everything. Oh, I got this here. With Trump in charge of the nuclear codes, how close to midnight would you reset the doomsday clock to? Eek, I don't freaking know. How about this one? If a Democrat wins in 2028 and we get a Democratic trifecta with majorities in both the House and the Senate for 2029, is it possible we could hold Aileen Cannon responsible and punish her for protecting Trump every step of the way throughout the course of the documents case? Yeah, she could be impeached and removed from office. And that's what should happen. Wow, thank you. I'm amazing. Well, that just made my day. I appreciate that. Where can Canadians send all the leftover American coins with our money? You could send it to me. On January, while Trump was at inaugural ball in Washington, the evening win for lottery number in New York came up 666. I remember that. Seconds to midnight for the doomsday clock. Yeah, it's pretty close to friggin' midnight as it is. Yeah, this buffoon with the nuclear codes. I mean, it's not a fucking joke. See, that's what pisses me off so much about these people in this country. And I know thankfully, I've got people, and I'm very appreciative of this, of other countries watching this and my other videos. But the people of this country, we have to be among the dumbest people on the planet. Certainly the most unserious. This is not a serious country. Everything that someone needed to know about Donald Trump, to know that Fetterman voted against stopping Trump. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Anyway, he voted against stopping Trump, right? I think that's what he did. Anyways, fuck Fetterman. Those people of Pennsylvania, Democrats, you better get rid of that guy first chance you get. Anyway, to put a buffoon like this in charge of the United States military with the nuclear codes, unfreaking believable. How stupid do you have to be? And why? Because you believe that he's a business genius because he played a character on TV. This is and I'll give you another example. I go back to this frequently. This is how unserious this country is. Do you remember in that one and only debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, because Donald Trump was too afraid to debate her any further? They were supposed to have 3 debates. He pulled out of the second 2, canceled because he got his ass kicked. And in that debate, he goes off talking about them eating the cats and the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people who live there. Remember that? That was an absolute disastrous debate performance. It was the worst debate performance in history except for Biden's debate performance. And it was almost as bad as that. It was a disaster. Donald Trump should have been unelectable after that. But you know what? In the days after that, his poll numbers went up. How? After this incoherent old buffoon gets on national TV in a presidential debate talking about people eating cats and dogs. I'll tell you why. Because following that debate, all across social media, that clip of Donald Trump, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the pets of the people who live there. That was memeified, and it was all over social media. It was turned into songs. Some people are really talented and creative with the way they put this stuff together. I remember one of these little songs. Trump's words were set to music, and was made into a song, and it was really actually well done. It was actually, I watched it like a bunch of times myself. It was really well done. That thing was viral all over the friggin' place. Now, I look at that and I can enjoy the parody of it, but it ain't going to make me want to vote for the guy. But for a lot of people, the unserious people in this country, they saw that and it made them want to vote for him. They thought, wow, he's really entertaining. Especially, you remember how, he made all these gains with young people? That's one of the reasons he made so much gains with young people. Crap like that. Because that shit was all over TikTok, all over Instagram. And people who don't pay any attention, especially young people, they look at those videos. Hey, I kind of like this guy eating the cats, eating the dogs. He seems fun. Who do I want to see as president for the next 4 years? That guy in that funny little video about eating the cats and the dogs? Or that serious woman who's talking serious about policy and, oh, that sounds boring. I don't want a president talking boring about policy. I want the eating the cats and the dogs guy. That seems much more entertaining. Because for the morons in this country, politics is just another form of entertainment. Because we're not a serious people. And Donald Trump may very well have won. Not only did it not hurt him, he may very well have fucking won the election and got reelected because of the eating the cats and the dogs. Something that in a sane country would be completely disqualifying, that may actually have gotten him elected. That's how stupid this country is. Unfreaking believable. All right, that's going to have to be it because I can't take anymore. I can't talk about this jackass anymore. I'm done. I appreciate you all watching. It's Friday as I'm recording this. I don't know when because I'm going to repost. I'm recording this right now as a live stream for those of you who are watching it live. Obviously, you know, but I'm going to re-upload this later across various platforms. So you may be watching this at some point in the future. Anyway, I hope you have a good weekend whenever it is that you're listening to this. Hopefully the next time we do this, we're not in the midst of World War III. Hopefully no nuclear weapons will have been dropped. Hopefully no more schools full of young children are going to be blown up by the United States military. Oh, I don't think I ever finished that thought, by the way, about how evil this country is. Or the Trump administration. This is pure evil. What they're doing to the people in this country and then blowing up a school full of children in the middle of the day. And you have Pete fucking Hegseth. He comes on, he acts like a tough guy all the time. Oh, we're not going to do these rules of engagement. We're not going to try to fight fair. We're not going to follow norms or international law on the rules of war and rules of engagement. That's for pussies. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go over there. Lethality, lethality. How many times did he try to say the word lethality? Warriors, lethality. We're not going to be constrained by norms and rules. We're just going to kill people. Yeah, you killed 180 children, you fucking piece of shit. That, my friends, is evil. That's what the United States government is doing in our name. Murdering children. Because Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. He's murdering children so that we don't find out what he did to children. That's what we elected. That's what the fucking 77 million people in this country elected. And what do you call people who empower that kind of evil? To all of those fucking people, because you see these people all over the place. Well, I didn't vote for this. The hell you didn't. This is exactly what you voted for. I know he didn't run on murdering school children, but that's what you empowered him to do. And if you didn't vote for Donald Trump, those children would not have been murdered. See how that works? Elections have consequences. Voting is not a joke. It's not a freaking game. You don't vote for the guy with the funniest TikTok meme. It's serious friggin' business. And 180 children were murdered at school because you thought Donald Trump was funny in a TikTok video. Well, fuck you. All right, that's really it. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you again soon.